Fisk unit. Soldier. Fisk unit. Soldier. What's good, y'all? Fist Vegas, the hardest voice of sports. Go ahead, hit that like button and subscribe to the Fist unit while you at it. Y'all know what time it is. If you ain't with it, you best get with it. Now let's rock. You know what amazes me? Giants fans, Fisk unit soldiers. You know what amazes Big Fisk? What amazes Big Fisk is people go on television. They get their makeup put on. They get their producers in their ear. They got their little logo hanging on the top of their head. And they get put on pedestals. And people who don't know no better think they're special, think they're smart, think they know what they're talking about because they have a platform. One of the most deceiving, one of the biggest lies that you can be told is by someone who has a platform. A platform is very deceiving because a platform, it dictates perception, okay? So the perception is the guy with the biggest platform must be the smartest one talking. He must be the bright guy in the room, right? Is it at the perception? You go to a channel, right? You see 8,000 subscribers. You go to a channel, you see 100,000 subscribers. Which one are you going to listen to? You turn your television on. You see the guy on primetime TV. One guy's on ESPN talking. And then you turn your channel on and you go to channel 420 and you see some guy on at 2 o'clock in the morning talking to himself. Who are you going to listen to? So I said all that to say this. Just because Colin Cowherd's on TV does not make him right. Just because Colin Cowherd's on TV, it doesn't make him smart. Just because Colin Cowherd is on TV doesn't make him creditable. This is the same dude last week who came out and said that Daniel Jones is a product of Brian Daboll, and because Daniel Jones played well, that Brian Daboll gets to keep his job. This is what he said about Brian Daboll. Every Giants fan watching this video right now knows that Brian Daboll is loved in New York. Probably the best thing that happened to the franchise since drafting Daniel Jones. He was never in jeopardy of losing his job. But Colin Cowherd went on national television and said that the general manager gave him the okay that he would keep his job after making the playoffs. What? This is the same Colin Cowherd who also went on to say that Daniel Jones isn't as good as Brock Purdy? Huh? This is the same Colin Cowherd who said over the last week that if you got Brian Daboll in a quiet room when nobody's listening, that he would move on from Daniel Jones and pick a young quarterback in the draft. These are all things that he said. Just because you have a platform, just because you're in front of cameras and you're on a television network, does not make you creditable. These bozos lie. These bozos are misinformed. And most importantly, these bozos have personal biases and personal narratives that they like to spew to the masses to get their point across. Ain't this the same dude who trashed Trey Lance because Trey Lance boned his daughter and dumped her? Ain't that the same dude? Ain't this the same dude who goes out here and bigs up Jimmy G and Derek Carr, two of the most mediocre quarterbacks on the planet? Oh, somebody's gonna be lucky to get Derek Carr. Somebody's gonna be lucky to get Jimmy G. I'm sorry. How come the teams with all the talent in the world don't want those quarterbacks? Who's got more talent than the Raiders? Raiders got Devontae Adams, the best receiver on the planet, and Josh Jacobs, who just led the league in rushing, Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller, but they don't want to bring back Derek Carr. Why is that? Why is that, Colin? Why is it that Jimmy G has literally been replaced 2 times in the same season? I ain't never seen a dude get replaced twice in the same calendar year. He got damn near cut for Trey Lance. Trey Lance gets hurt, and now he's about to get cut again for Brock Purdy. How you get cut for 2 quarterbacks in the same season, bro. You can't be good. You can't tell me that Jimmy G is good when one of the 3 best play callers on the face of the earth, Kyle Shanahan, has literally tried to replace him twice. Twice. But yet, he comes on here and he spews these negative narratives towards Daniel Jones, who has done nothing but put up with filth for the last 4 years, and he's finally got a supporting cast around him, people who know what they're doing, people who have a brain. Coaching matters. Do you see what Nathaniel Hackett did to Russell Wilson? Do you see what Brandon Staley is doing to Justin Herbert? All that wasted talent with Herbert. You got Brandon Staley just ruining it. Did you see what Sean McVay did for Jared Goff? Did you see what Doug Peterson did for Trevor Lawrence? Coaching matters. So going from Joe Judge, who just ruined Mac Jones, to getting Brian Dable, of course Daniel Jones is reaching his potential. Daniel Jones has always had this talent. He just had Joe Judge and Jason Garrett mucking it up. And by the way, this is the same guy who loves Jason Garrett. Colin Cowherd really might not like Daniel Jones because he thinks Daniel Jones got Jason Garrett fired. His buddy, his pal, his golf partner. These are the things that you have to take into account. These are the narratives that you have to remember when you digest the filth, the lies, the unnecessary evil propaganda that they spew to you to disparage my quarterback. These are the things that you got to take into account when you listen to bums like Colin Cowherd lie to the masses. He don't know what he's talking about. Saying Daniel Jones is the 8th best quarterback in the playoffs. Going out here reacting to the Viking game and not giving Daniel Jones no credit. Is Brian Dable throwing footballs? Is Mike Kafka throwing footballs? This was what amazes me. I know how much coaching matters. You gotta have the structure. I get it. But how good has Belichick looked since Tom Brady left? How many head coaches like John Fox and who's that black dude who used to coach Peyton Manning? I forgot. Jim Caldwell. How good did they look without Peyton Manning? Like, you could be a great head coach. You could be a great play caller. But if your quarterback ain't that dude, you're not going nowhere. Kyle Shanahan had a top 5 roster for 5 years and ain't done nothing because Jimmy G was stinking up the joint. Give Danny his flowers. Brian Dable's great, but we're not in the playoffs if he started 17 games with Tyrod Taylor. We're not. If Brian Dable took over last year and had to start Mike Glennon and Jake Fromm, we wouldn't be in the playoffs. Give Danny his flowers. It's not about what Minnesota didn't do. It's not about how bad Minnesota's defense is. It's about how great Daniel Jones is. Because when Tom Brady takes advantage of a bad defense, you don't say nothing. When Jalen Hurts had to beat that sorry schedule he had, you didn't bring up how bad the competition was. It's only for people you don't like. It's only for players you don't want to give flowers to that you nitpick and you come up with an excuse to disparage their greatness. But it's okay though, because I'm here and I'm not going nowhere. No matter how much they try to get rid of me, no matter how much they try to ignore me, no matter how much they wish worse on me, I'm not going nowhere. You understand me? No weapon formed against me shall prosper. Simple as that. So, I just wanted to tap in with y'all to let y'all know that Colin Cowherd is still doing sucker activities, still spewing unnecessary lies about my quarterback, and he'll be dealt with in due time. Because it's going to come a day where Daniel Jones is actually in MVP discussions. It's going to come a day where Daniel Jones is winning 13 games this season. It's coming. When he gets his weapons and Evan Neal gets a second year under his belt, it becomes even more dominant in protecting him. And Brian Dable gets more experience. This group is only going to get better. And as they get better, bozos like Colin Cowherd are going to be held accountable. We hear what you're saying. We remember what you're saying. Your day coming, Cowherd. You're not. It's coming. It's coming. But anyway, that's it. That's all. Subscribe to the unit if you're rocking with me. My name is Fist Vegas, and I approve this message.